Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to get custom materials into Sandbox for the maps that you're working on. So this is a map that was inspired by this image here. And you can see this is just a hotel hallway. We got this nice carpet. We got the walls with this is called wainscoting. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis for the design that I was working on. And this is the result of it right here. So we have this carpet, and then we also have the walls with the wainscoting on the bottom, and then the nice trim piece on top. And I think it turned out pretty well. So if you want to learn how to do this, this is what we're going to be making in this video. Some of the common issues that you may have when trying to get your own materials into Sandbox is this hard border right here. So when you get your image in and you put it into the material editor, and then you try to go and you use it, things just aren't going to look that great. It's not going to blend it properly. So I'm going to be showing you a few tools that you can use to not only make something that looks exactly like your reference image, but make something that is actually usable and tileable. So let's start by grabbing a reference image. So the image that we're going to use is going to be this hallway. I'm not sure if this is actually going to work, but we're going to try it. So we're just going to grab this, and then we're going to go over here. I've been prompting with Grok a little bit to get these prompts that I basically use to throw into Meshy, and Meshy uses Nano Banana to create these images for me. So that's what we're going to do now. I already have this chat basically where I've talked with Grok about, I want to make materials for a game engine, and the prompt needs to be under 800 characters because that's what it is in Meshy. And then it also needs to, the lighting needs to be even. It's going to have, it's going to be high resolution, BBR textures, and used for a game. You can kind of see the prompt that it's coming up with here. So we're just going to throw this in. And then we are going to just grab one of the prompts that I've already been using. Okay, and I'll do a prompt for we will change this to walls. And we'll see what that comes up with. So once you get I'm not going to go over the prompting again because I already did that in one of my last videos. But if you're getting to the point where you're getting images that you like, and now you want to put them in your game, and you're getting this tiling issue, I will show you how to edit them to look good and to actually tile. But as a example, we're going to see if we can recreate this hallway. So we got this prompt. Let's chuck it in here. See how that works. 1:1 aspect ratio. We're just going to ask for 2 images, and then we're going to generate that and see what it comes up with. So while that's working, I'm gonna show you how to get your files set up properly. So in Sandbox, when you go to local and you go under assets, you'll have a materials folder. We're just gonna click into that, and we're gonna actually right click this and hit show and explore. So once we have this, this is the area where we're gonna be saving all of our materials. I already have this open over here, so we'll just use that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create new folder, and this is going to be called new hotel hall. And we're actually going to call this walls. Since we're working on the walls, we'll make another folder. We're going to call this new hotel hall floor. Okay, so we have our hall and we have our floor. And maybe we'll do ceiling, but I don't have a lot of credits left, so we're just going to do these two. I think I'll get the idea. So this is still working, so we'll go over a couple more things. We're going to go over naming conventions. So when you're creating your materials in Sandbox, you need to have these naming conventions. So what I mainly use, and what you see on the map here, this is simply just a diffuse or a color map, and then a normal map, and the normal map is what's going to make this 2D image look kind of 3D. So you can see it looks like there's some depth to this trim and this wainscoting. It kind of looks like it's jumping out of the painted part of the wall here. And that's the effect that the normal maps have. The roughness map is going to determine how shiny this is. And so this is like a really old, high quality dark wood, and it's going to have this gloss effect to it, so it's not so bad that it has that shine. That's actually kind of what we wanted. And you can see up on the top here too. Looks like it's sort of jumping out at us, and the light's reflecting in ways because of those normal maps. The way the normal maps are set up, it looks like it's 3D. So let's see if this finished. Go back to Meshy. Still working. Okay, here we go. So these are the walls that I came up with. Alright, so we have this white painted wall. We have this, not sure if you'd call it wainscoting, but we essentially have this border down here that I came up with. And then we have this one. I really like this one. But let's see what looks more like our image. So our image is basically just a flat wall and this trim. No real designs in the walls. So if we wanted to make it look like our image, the best thing that we could do is probably use this one. I think it's the most plain. And yeah, I think that'll work. But I do really like this one as well. But we'll use this. Okay. So now that we have the image for our walls, we are going to get an image for our floors. So we're going to go back to Grok and I use this same image. And we're going to say, now give us a prompt for floors. That's going to work. While that's working, we are going to, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to use this one because I think it'll tile better. There's some weird artifacts on the bottom here, but I'm not too worried about it. We're going to download this and we're going to save it to the directory for our materials in our map that we're working on currently. Where is that? It's new hotel walls. We'll just save that in here. So we're going to use our naming conventions like I went over up here. We can't get in there yet, but I will show you again. So it's going to be called new hotel wall. And this one is going to be the diffuse image or the color image. So we'll go underscore color. And that satisfies our naming convention. So we can just build this material automatically in Sandbox. And we can see that ended up inside our Sandbox project. Not in floors, that is in walls. So right there, we have our wall. Now, if we were to just take this and try to make a material out of it, we could do that. And we could see how it looks. So hotel wall, save. And that populated down here. So we're going to grab it. And we're just going to see how that looks. We'll go to our texture tool, click there, and we apply it. So a lot of you may be having this issue where you get to this point, you find an image that you really like, and then you put it in there, and then you get these lines. That doesn't look good. Not even when we play and we get the effects from our camera. Nothing can hide these hard lines. Doesn't look good at all. So yeah, we're gonna fix that. Let's see if Grok is done with our prompt. So we have a prompt for our floor. We're gonna throw that into Meshy. This is a really intricate floor, so I'm curious to see what it'll come up with here. 2 images, generate. Okay, so that's gonna work for a little while. So let's go over how to actually tile this so that we can use it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a program called Materialize. I already have it open here. Let's see, clear. Okay, so when you open up Materialize, this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see this sort of like sheet here, this palette, this is what we're going to be working on. So we're going to go and we're going to grab our diffuse map, which is the color map, same thing that we just made, that Meshy just made. And that's not one of the work for some reason. Let's reopen this. I'll have a link to this down below as well. So get in here, click the O under diffuse map. You're going to go to where our image is saved. And then let's see, walls. Here it is. So we'll select that. Now, we got our wall in Materialize. So how do we get it tiled? How do we get it looking good? Well, the first thing we need to do is we're going to create a height map. And the height map is going to allow us to create a normal map. We need these 3 maps in order to tile. So we're going to hit create, set. Doesn't really matter. We're not going to use this anyways. Create, set for both of these. So once you have those 3 maps in Materialize, you can hit tile maps. Now, you're going to get this tiling texture maker over here. And the first thing that you want to do, and you might even notice that because we have those maps on this image, that it kind of looks like it's jumping out at us a little bit. Which is cool. That's what we wanted. So we're going to slide the texture tiling up. And notice that this isn't lining up properly. So let's see if we can get this lined up. Okay, so I think because it's such a like consistent color, it's really hard to see. But our bottom edge of that material is actually showing up there. So we're not so much worried about this Y overlap as we are concerned about the X overlap. So we're going to focus more on the X overlap because this hard line, this vertical line, is what we want to get rid of. So we're going to move this until it lines up our texture here. So you can see this is where our line is. And that's what we want to work with. So we want to make sure that this spacing is even. And so we're going to move this until we kind of get those lined up. Get one of those lines lined up. Oh, right about here, I would say. That it looks pretty even. So there's our line. It might be hard to see, but our line is right here. And our spacing is the same as all of the other ones on here. And then to get rid of that line, we're going to move this edge fall off slider over, and you can see that line starts to disappear. So when the edge fall off is higher, then it sort of blends these, it feathers them into each other. So we're actually looking at both images right here, and they just sort of fuse on top of each other. If we zoom out, you can still see some of those hard lines. See if we can get rid of them. Turn that feathering up. So turning the feathering up, or turning the edge fall off up, didn't really save this. So we're gonna move this X overlap in a little bit more. Zoom in so we can see X overlap. And we'll do it right there. Zoom out. This is looking a little bit better. Looking better. Not fully satisfied, so let's zoom in again. Get this X overlap. About right there. It's looking a lot better. So those are our hard lines. And this is where we've sort of softened it up a little bit. I don't know if I'm happy with that, so we're going to zoom in again. Turn this edge so we can see it when we're up close. And we're just going to move this in. And then turn that edge all off all the way up again. So that's looking a lot better. You can see here that our seam still lines up, although it does look a little bit different. Let's see what happened here. I don't think our X is lined up properly, so let's see if we can line that up. You can fine tune this over here by just typing in the numbers if you wanted to. So we're at 2480. Let's try 2470. No, not 2470. There we go. And now we're lined up perfectly. Okay. So looking at this from all angles, we can see that we don't have that hard line anymore. It's pretty much gone. We could turn our texture tiling up. And it's way more obvious once you look at it this way. You can kind of see it. But we're going to go with this and see if it'll work in our game. So there's our material. Now that we have all of these settings set, we're not going to touch them at all. We're going to go set maps. And we're going to go up here to JPEG as our file format, select it, and then hit save project. We're going to save it in the same spot that our reference image was saved. And what are we calling this? We're calling this new hotel something. Let's see. New hotel hall walls. Okay. New hotel hall walls. Okay. Now that we have those saved, we can go and we can check them out. So right here, these are the files that Materialize populates. So we have a .mtz, and then we also have this this that might have came in from Sandbox when we created our original material. So let's see. I believe this diffuse is the one that Materialize created. So we're going to delete this, and then we're also going to delete this. And then we're going to get our naming conventions right. So let's go back over to the GitHub. And you can see, remember, underscore color, underscore normal, underscore rough. We're just going to pretend that our height map is our rough map, just for the sake of this tutorial. So go in here, change the name. We're going to do underscore color. This one for our height map, we're going to pretend that's our roughness map. Underscore rough. And then this one is already underscore normal. That's perfect. So let's check it out in Sandbox. Materials. Walls. Right here. We'll go create material. And then we actually need to delete the old material. And then we can go here. And because we have our naming convention set up correctly, we could just hit create material. Save in your materials folder under assets. And then that has populated right here. So what we want to check on first is that we have this specular checked. And that's really going to make sure that our maps are working properly. So check it, then save it. And all of these things loaded in here because we had our naming conventions done right. Now, we can use this, put it on our wall, see how it looks. So we will scale this down, scale it down, bit on the y-axis. Okay, there we go. So we have this wall. Let's check it out in game. There's not much color on this wall, so it's not going to look the best, but for the reference image that we're making, it'll probably look pretty good. So you could definitely tell that this is not tiled entirely properly. But compared to what we had before, this is a lot better. A lot less noticeable. I would say it's usable. So That looks pretty good. Let's see what we have for our floor. So Meshy was working on. Okay, so these are the results that we got for our floor. Kind of insane. I don't know how we're gonna tile this, but we're gonna try it. I think this image here has the best hope of tiling, but it does have that weird gray border. This image, I don't even know what to say. What does our reference image look like? So the reference image, very sporadic. Yeah. Hmm. We want it to be as close as possible. I think we should just... I think we re-roll this. Okay, so I re-rolled it, and this is what it came up with. And I don't think I like these. I really want to use this one, but I'm not confident that it's going to tile really well, just because of these, like, carpet brush marks on it. But I think we're going to try it anyways. So we'll save this into our materials, our hotel floor. Then we're just going to call this new hotel hall floor. And we'll name that as the color. Okay, now that we have that saved, we'll go to our sandbox files. And I believe we have to change this over to a JPEG so that Sandbox will like it, because it doesn't like large PNGs. And we want to save in the same spot. New hotel floor. And we'll switch it to a JPEG. Okay. So now we can get rid of our PNG here. And we will load this into Sandbox just to show you what it looks like if we don't tile it. So go in here, create material. And save. Okay, so we have our material here. Let's see what this looks like. I don't want to do it here. Let's just make a hallway. We'll do something like this. Like that. And then we'll flip it. So, yeah. Interesting, huh? Let's get our walls. Get our texture tool. We'll add our walls in there. Okay. Boom. So get our walls. The ceiling, we're just gonna grab this ceiling. And the way I'm grabbing the ceiling is by holding shift and then hitting a right mouse button with the texture tool. You can just grab materials from anywhere in your level. Click here, shift T to apply, and then we'll align to grid. So now we have this here. And we'll just kind of fit that there. So very bright, very white. And then we have our floor. Our floor actually doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look bad at all. Wonder what happens if we align this. Nothing. So right out of Meshy, it already looks good. Let's see if we can find any tileable features on here. Okay, so here's one. So you could see this hard line right here where the carpet looks like it's kind of brushed a little bit. And then all of a sudden, that just stops, that hard line right there. Yeah, we're definitely going to be able to get some good results out of tiling this and make this look a lot better. So let's do that. Go over to Materialize. We'll get out of here and we'll open it up again. We're going to grab our color map that we just made. And the new hotel floor. Okay. So now we got this in here. Gonna create our height map. Set. Normal map. Set. Then we're gonna go to tile. Okay. So after that, we're gonna bump up this so that we can see where our lines are. Because when we zoom this out and see what it looks like on a pattern sheet, we can see where those hard lines exist. And we actually have these hard lines in many places. So we're gonna see if we can clean that up. So we're gonna bump our edge fall off down so we can see where our hard lines are. Zoom into an area. So this is like a four-way here where all of these edges need to be fixed. So we're gonna change our X first. And we're just gonna see where this lines up. If it does line up anywhere. So it's not looking like we have anything lining up yet. Keep stretching. I think right there. Right there. We have it lined up. And we're going to move our Y. Keep moving the Y. I think we're going to have to go pretty far for this one. Right there. Looks like it lines up. So what I'm looking at is this gray arrow and this gray arrow. I want those to overlap. And once we have that overlapped, we can zoom out. And we can see that this looks a lot more clean. We could definitely see where our lines are for our pattern. So this isn't tiled yet because we have our edge fall off all the way down. But once we move our edge fall off up, those lines sort of kind of disappear. So we're going to look at those carpet brushes. Here we go. There's the hard line. Hard line right there. Sort of blend that together. So there's it without it being blended. Then there it is with it blended. So we can just turn that guy all the way up. And that looks okay. I think I'm happy with it. So now we'll go down here, hit set maps. And then we're going to go up here as a PNG. Save project. Same place. This is in the floor. So we'll call this new hotel hall floor. And then that populates in here. Then we'll get rid of this MTZ file. We don't need it. Get rid of this. We don't need it. That was the old material. And then this was the old color map. Don't need it. We just need these three. Remember, naming conventions. So we'll name those properly. And this one will be color. We're not doing height maps. We're just going to pretend this is a roughness map. Rough. And then normal is already named properly. So now, moving into Sandbox. You can see that destroyed our floor because we got rid of that material. But when we go and we create this material, we'll throw that in the materials folder. Yes, we will replace it. And it automatically found its pathing and put the floor on there. So we'll just align this and we'll scale it down a little bit so we can see if we can find any tiling issues. So what were we looking at before? We were looking at these brush marks on the carpet. And the brush marks had very harsh lines. We can see that there's no more harsh lines on the brush marks. So everything kind of blends nicely. It looks like it's supposed to sit next to itself. Yeah. This hallway. We'll go back to our reference image and see how we did. So reference image right here. What are we thinking? I got this. I mean, we can go as far as putting some hallways in here, right? So we can cut out, you know, where a door would be. Take this, push it back, and make sure everything's scaled properly. And then, you know, we could get our door in there. Find a nice white door. Let's see, what does it look like in our image? Kind of like this 4-panel, 6-panel style door. We don't really have that. We'll just use this. Pull that in there. Go into object mode by pressing O. Press E so we can get our rotation. And W to transform. So we can have our door there. Door frame. Just get a simple door frame in there. Because we want this to look like our reference image, so get that in there. I should have chose a different color because everything being white, it's really hard to see the details and things. But that's fine. So, yeah, standing right here, kind of have our hallway. Let's go back to our reference image. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. The colors don't exactly match, but you get the idea. If you showed somebody this photo, and then you showed somebody this, and you're like, yeah, I get it. And obviously, you can add more to this if you wanted to. You know, we can really extend this hallway a lot more. Put a window at the end if we really wanted to. Just cut out something simple, right? Something at the end for us to look at next to our reference image. Yeah, you get the idea. So that's pretty much the basis. Oh yeah, this floor, since we extended it, we want to align these again. So this is a 0.63. Go back in here, align, bump it down to 0.63, and then that'll line up. So if you create like an extension to a hallway like that, you can just line it up. And as you can see, no hard lines. So get our guy in here. Spawn. Just show you guys what it looks like inside here in game. There we go. Looks pretty good. And with the camera from the game, our door fell off because it wasn't static. But with the camera from our game, it makes these walls look a lot better. And if you really looked hard at this, you could tell. Like, there's definitely some tile going on here. But if you're just running through here, you don't even notice it. So hopefully that gave you guys the tools that you need to get your own custom materials into Sandbox and show you how to tile things and show you how to get the maps that you need to really make these textures jump out at you to make these 2Ds look 3D. And hopefully you have as much fun with it as I do, you know, just making this hotel right now. Using reference images and using the exact workflow that I just showed you to make all of this. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any comments, questions. That's it.